Hey guys, it's Miss Christian here. I'm looking forward to starting the next steps on our paper. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. So some of you have already started on this and even sent me finished papers, but this is actually going to be a time for you guys to go back and add more detail. So all that I asked you guys to do the first day of the lesson was to brainstorm. All you had to do was complete this bubble or this circle diagram. Okay, in the middle, you were supposed to put where you went on a trip or where you went on a public outing. So it could be just going to a restaurant, the store with your parents, anything. And then you were to write down the three main events or pick three main events that really stuck out to you. So when we did this, we actually wrote a bunch of them on the outside, a bunch of things that I did during the trip. And you guys were supposed to do the same. Then you were to pick three of the main ones and then write down the order that they happened. So the beach for me happened first, then we went into town second, and then third, we went on the ski lift. Okay? Then I asked you guys to try and expand on each of these as much as you could with 3 to 5 details with examples and reasons. Some of you already did that, which is great. So today we're really focusing on an introduction and a conclusion. Okay? So I've drew up this little diagram for you guys because we will actually continue to use this the rest of the time. And remember, you guys are allowed to go back and edit your papers. That's what I want you to do. I don't want this to be something that you rush through. Okay? So when it comes to the introduction, there's a couple of questions that you want to make sure that you're going to answer. So first, let me explain this diagram for you guys. So here is where our introduction is going to go. And then down here, there's a little arrow that points to the three main events that you guys picked. We're not working on those today. We're working on the introduction. And then, of course, we have the conclusion. Okay, so let me make sure that the arrow is more visible. Okay, and then it would go right there. Okay, so remember, we're working on the conclusion the introduction and the conclusion today. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I always ask you guys to do when it comes to an introduction is make sure that you answer the following questions. I'm going to model for you what this should look like. So what I'm going to do is at this time, I'm going to erase this because I want you guys to be able to see my handwriting. So we're going to make the introduction a little bit larger than I normally would. Okay. So the very first question that you want to make sure that you answer is, when did you guys go on this outing? Okay. It could be a date. It could be a time of the year. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of think about my trip that I went on to Lake Tahoe and when I went on this trip. So this is going to be the very first sentence. When did I go on my trip? It was during the summer, last summer. So I'm going to go ahead and start it off like this. Last summer, I went to Lake Tahoe with my family. Okay, so I told you guys when I went on my trip. It was last summer. Okay, now secondly, it would be to introduce who was there. I kind of already said that my family was there, but I want to be a little more specific. Okay, I was able to spend time with my parents and daughter. Okay, so my daughter, of course, was with us. Okay, so I have done the first two steps. I told you when I went on my trip, and I told you who was there. So then that last thing is, or not the last thing, but the next thing would be to introduce a little bit of what you did. Okay? We explored, outside, swam, and shopped. Okay, kind of just gave a little bit of an introduction about what my body paragraphs, the middle section, is going to be about. I'm sorry that the glare is not cooperating with me. Okay, so I kind of introduced what we did when we were there. And then the last thing is, why did I go? This is going to be my last part of my introduction. I'm going to talk about why we went. My family and I needed to, sorry, this whiteboard is not cooperating with me, spend time together. Okay, so one thing I want to say is this is not the perfect introduction yet. There's multiple steps to this writing process that I'm going to be going through. This is just getting our ideas out. You know, I haven't touched on the transition words or phrases or anything like that just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture. That way I know what I wrote in my introduction. Okay, and now I'm going to get ready to show you the conclusion part. So remember, if we go back to that old diagram, this would be the box that goes at the very top. And then the middle section is going to be what I asked you guys to work on, expanding the details for the events that you did. So now I'm going to go ahead and go over a conclusion with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. And what I did is I kind of wrote down the questions. I wrote down, did I talk about who was there? Did I talk about what we did? Did I talk about when we went on this trip? And did I talk about why did we go? Since I did all those things, I'm going to go ahead and go over the conclusion step now. Okay, I apologize for my handwriting. It's not the prettiest, but it gets the job done. Now I'm going to go over the conclusion part. So this is going to be at the very end. Okay, so in the conclusion, I asked you guys to do the following. Tell me how you felt when you were on this trip. Give an opinion. An opinion is like how you personally feel about something. Okay, tell me what you hope for. So maybe the next time you go on your trip, what's something you would like to do? And then tell me a moment that you will never forget. Okay. And what I'll do actually, because some of you might have been having a hard time, I'll show you the expanding your ideas part. So if you remember, there was 3 boxes that were like this. I don't know if you guys saw that. Okay, and then on each one I'm going to write down in order. So the beach is what we did first. Okay, second was going to town. And then of course I want to talk about the ski lift because that part is actually pretty funny. Okay, so then for each of these you're going to write down at least 3 to 5 things that you did while you were there. Okay, or 3 to 5 things that you could really expand on. Okay, so if I were to start with the beach, I want to make sure that I have enough room. I'm actually going to go ahead and stand on this side because I think I'll be able to write a little bit better. Excuse me. Here we go, much better. So when I think about the beach, we swam. We did sandcastles. You'll notice that I'm not writing a ton of details yet. I'm just kind of getting my thinking going. So we have sandcastles. We had a picnic while we were out there. And of course, we looked for seashells. Okay, so then when I went to town, this is like, we're in Tahoe, so we had to drive a little far to go into the actual town. So we went to town, we went shopping. So shopping. We ate lunch. We actually played mini golf, which was pretty cool. Let's see, what's something else that we did? We went for a walk. And then that's going to actually be a perfect transition to the ski lift. So, just a little preview of the ski lift. It was kind of scary. It was high up, but then at the top it had a really beautiful view. So I'm going to say beautiful view. And then I'm going to put my dad because he's a big part of the story. And then I'm going to stop there for now because I'm going to be expanding on each of these. So again, I'm sorry that the glare is like not cooperating with us very well, but I'm trying to make it work as best as I can. Okay, so that's for anybody who maybe might have been having a hard time trying to expand your ideas. You could just start with just writing down the stuff that you did, okay? So now I'm going to move on to the conclusion. I know I kind of skipped around, but I wanted to make sure that I touched on that as well. Okay, so for the conclusion, you want to make sure that you tell me how you felt. You want to give an opinion. You want to tell me what you hope for the next time. And then you also want to tell me a moment that you will never forget. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how I felt. In the end, and you'll notice that I put a good transition phrase, in the end, the trip was so much fun. Okay, so that's me telling you how I felt. I felt that the trip was so much fun. I'm going to give an opinion. In my opinion, living in a cabin is so peaceful, which it is. Some of the best times were just when we were hanging out in the cabin relaxing, okay? In my opinion, living in a cabin is so peaceful. We got to stay there for like a week. So I've given my opinion. Now I'm going to tell you what I hope for. I hope one day to go back with more family. Someday. Okay, done that so far. And the last thing is going to be, tell me what I will never forget. Or tell you what I will never forget. I will never forget the memories we made. Okay? And that would be my conclusion. So what a lot of kids do, I've noticed, especially when I'm looking at some of the examples I've seen so far, is you'll put, and thank you for listening to my paper. It's really sweet of you that you guys have manners, but you actually don't need to do that. All you need to do is focus on the topic. Okay? So I know that that was kind of quick, but remember, by the end of today, you want to make sure that you have kind of thought about what you're going to write for the middle sections, and then you also want to make sure that you do a good introduction and a conclusion. Okay? So if you have any questions, please contact me. What I'm going to do is in the information under the video, I'm going to write down the the questions that I want you to answer for the introduction and the conclusion. Also, for anyone that's in my class, I'm going to be posting Mr. Stapley's music lesson for today, so make sure that you guys get that done. All right, well, you guys have a good one, and I will see you guys next time. I'll be posting again on Thursday. All right, bye.